Hey friend, this is Jennifer, and this is the Jennifer Allwood Show, the podcast for women who want to learn how to live an intentional life or build their creative business. I'll be giving you my very best business tips, bringing you interesting guests, giving you a daily dose of Jesus, and I'm committed to always keeping it real. Grab a cup of coffee and let's dive in. I'm so honored that you're here. Hey, my friend, did you know I'm hosting my first annual business conference? I think that by saying those words, that basically means I'm signing on for another one next year. I'm not sure. But anyway, we are hosting the Equipped Women's Conference here in Kansas City. This is a conference that's focused on arming God's women to do business in God's way. This is here in my hometown of Kansas City, Missouri, and we are so excited to have you. We're going to have some incredible speakers like top podcast host Jamie Ivey of the Happy Hour podcast. We have author and coach Dr. Brian Dixon, Jenny Taylor of Jenny Does Grace for all of you that love MLMs and network marketing, and then Chastity Stemmons, who owns Homemaker and High Heels and is also my personal stylist. You are going to have an incredible 2 days filled with tons of encouragement, connections, and tangible action items for your business. And so if you need a pick-me-up in your business, if you need a pick-me-up in your faith, then this is a great event for you. I want you to grab a girlfriend and I want you to get ready to be equipped. Go to jenniferallwood.com/conference and I will see you in Kansas City in May.
Hi guys, good morning. It's Jennifer. What we're going to talk about today are some of the reasons that you literally should be making and creating. And I want to talk real quick first to all of those of you who are like, I'm not creative. This Facebook Live's not going to be for me. Oh, yes, it is. Because listen, think of like all the different ways that you could be creative. Like gardeners are creative, landscapers, the dudes that did my tile in my kitchen right here, totally creative. I mean, that is amazing how they laid that out and how they did like the little stuff here. Can I do this without breaking the internet? Like, can you guys see my tile in my kitchen? I mean, that's stinking creative, right? I mean, I designed it, but they laid it out. Okay. So all that's creative. For those of you who are like, gosh, I'm not really very creative, but I'm really good at organizing pantries. Honey, that's creative. Okay. I mean, I think we think only about the creative gifts that we see as huge, right? We see the actors, actresses, we see musicians, and we think those are huge. We see artists, we see the well-known artists. And so we think that our gifts, because they are smaller by the world standards, are not as important. And I want to talk about that today. And so here's what we're going to talk about. Okay. First of all, I have a couple of questions for you. Number one, how many of you feel like you have a creative gift of some sort, but you just haven't been using it for a while? That's right. Alarm. Say amen. How many of you feel like I once used to do calligraphy? I once used to sew. I once used to crochet. I once used to take photographs. There was a time when I used to do chalk painting. There was a time when I did watercolor. How many of you can tell me that there is a thing that you used to enjoy and that you were good at because of #life or #age or you just didn't feel like it was relevant? You quit doing it. Okay, so this is what happens so often. And so the first thing that I want to talk about today is, I'm going to my notes so I don't get sidetracked, is what actually the reason that we're creative is, first of all, and then talk about the reasons you need to still be doing the things, the gifts that God gave you and operating in the talents that you've been giving. And there's biblical reasons for it. Okay. And so I'm so excited. Like, God gave me this word for you guys on Saturday morning when I could have been sleeping in. Let me just say that. And so I was up like writing my little heart out. And so I know that this word is for a couple of you on here today. I'm going to start on why God made you creative in the first place, okay? Because being able to make something out of nothing, being able to create something gorgeous out of nothing is completely like, it's a gift from heaven, okay? So think about in the beginning of time when God created the heavens and the earth. I mean, he himself is creative. If you ever have seen a sunset in your life, you'll know how creative he is. There's the amount of, like, no sunset is the same. Isn't that insane? And it looks different everywhere. Like, it's so amazing to see, like, his creativity, like God's creativity just in the palette of the sky. So number one, you're made in the image of your creator, okay? And he's as creative as they get. So every single one of you has got creative gifts, and you need to know that it is a gift. It is a gift. And with any gift from God comes power, okay? Because gifts are powerful. He doesn't give you a gift and then there's no power to it. Like it's just a dud. It's like a milk dud. It's like flat. It's like soda with no fizz. That's not how gifts operate, okay? Your gifts are given to you for power. There's meaning in them. There's intent behind God giving them to you. He could have made you, this is what I say all the time, an astronaut. He could have made you a dentist. Maybe that's a creative thing. Some would argue that it is. But instead, he gave you the abilities to be creative in your world, with your people, do businesses with them, etc. Right? Okay. It's a powerful gift. I just need you to get that first of all. It's a powerful gift. Okay. Second, all good gifts come from God. Period. Point blank. I hope that that's crystal clear. All right. And then the next part. The enemy has no creative abilities at all, so he hates your gift. He hates your gift. He has no ability to make something beautiful that wasn't beautiful before. So here's what I need you to get. This is a good time to share this, friends, okay? Because here's the zinger of the day, okay? So what the enemy doesn't have, he wants to corrupt for you. What the enemy doesn't have, he has no creative ability. He wants to steal. The Bible says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He wants to steal your gift. He wants to destroy your gift. He wants to kill your gifts of being creative. This is the honest to goodness truth. When he sees you creating, making something out of nothing, making relationships beautiful, making poetry on a piece of paper, decorating people's faces with makeup, he hates it because he can't do it. He has no creative ability whatsoever. And so he wants to pervert that and to destroy it in your life. And so how does he do that? Well, he tries to convince you not to use your gifts. He tries to get it so that you are like too distracted, too busy. You tell yourself you're too old. You tell yourself it's silly to doodle. I used to draw cartoons when I was a kid. That's silly now. That's what he does. He convinces you with his lies that your gifts are not relevant. They're not necessary. They don't do anybody any good. Nobody's going to buy them, all the things. And so then what do we end up doing? We end up not creating, which was something that brought us so much peace at one point because it's a gift. We end up not making anything out of anything because we feel like, well, what's the point? That's right. Amen. That's my amen alarm right there. I want you for a second. We're going to go back to the enemy perverting your gifts for just a second because I need for you to get this. And I've got 3 examples for you. Okay. Some of you have children who are sassy. You have children that every time you tell them something, they want to argue with you. They want to negotiate. They want to challenge you. Who has a kiddo that this is the story? I have more than one in this household with 4 kids. Who has a kiddo who you feel like is a little sassy? He can be a little disrespectful with that mouth. He wants to challenge you. He wants to negotiate. Okay. I'm going to tell you something that my pastor, Philip O'Reilly, taught me years ago. If you will look close enough, it's because their mouths are gifted. They've been gifted in the area of communication, in speaking, possibly in the area of prayer. And so what the enemy does is he comes in and he tries to pervert the gift with your kids. And the perversion of the gift comes out in sassiness, disrespect, challenging authority. So the very thing that God's gifted them in, which is their words, which is your kids' mouths. Some of you need to stop looking at your kids and just being like, that stinking kid. All he wants to do is argue. Okay, well, God's given him a gift. The gift is his mouth. The gift is his mouth, but the enemy comes in to take that gift and to pervert it into using it in the wrong way, right? I mean, we all want to gripe about strong-willed kids, but we all want kids who can go out there and face the world and conquer the things. Girlfriend, be glad you got a strong-willed kid. They're going to need to be strong-willed to do and fulfill the call of God on their life. They have to be strong-willed. You can't be raising a kiddo who's, docile and quiet and, more on the meek side and, not very confident and expect them to be the ones that are out running companies. I mean, God needs all kinds. So we want to gripe about the strong-willed kids but God needs them to be strong-willed in order to do what he is calling them to do in the earth. God needs for your kids to have boldness coming out of their mouths so that they can help to minister to other people someday, so that they can be prayer warriors, so that they can go about and speak peace wherever they go. He needs them to be able to use their mouth. Now the enemy's coming to pervert it, but the fact that they've got stuff coming out of their face, that is a good thing, mama. It's a good thing. Okay. So that's one way the enemy will come in and pervert the gifts. Another way, he will convince you. I was speaking to this precious, precious dear woman who's a friend of mine, and she was telling me that all of her life she's been told she talks too much. And I'm like, girl, listen to me. Listen to me. The reason that you believe and you've been told that you talk too much is because that's your gifting, babe. Your gifting is your mouth. Your gifting is the things coming out of your face. And the enemy's like, nope, I'm going to convince her she's too much. If I can convince her from the youngest age that she's too much, if I can convince her when she's in high school that she talks too much, that nobody's listening to her anyway, that she can't get her thoughts out in an organized fashion, that what comes out of her mouth feels chaotic so people won't listen to her, then she will shut up as an adult. Are you hearing me, somebody? This is for someone. This is for someone. So what the enemy does with creative people is he'll convince you your gifts are crap. That buffet you just painted looks like duty. Ain't nobody going to buy it. Nobody's going to look at those candlesticks on Facebook Marketplace and buy them. That painting didn't turn out exactly like you wanted it to the first time. You might as well hang it up. Sister, you are 40 years old. What are you doing? Still thinking that you can write poetry and never have it published. This is the chatterbox when we're adults and we're creative. And I need you to understand that you've been gifted. The enemy hates the gift that you have. He's trying to pervert it, but God gave it to you specifically. He could have given you any other gift. He gave you the gift of being creative. He could have given it to anybody else, but he gave it to you. So I need for you to first recognize that the gifts that you have are a gift from God. Number two, that the enemy hates it and is trying to pervert it and trying to twist it and is trying to convince you to lay it down. If you can grasp that and nothing else, it will make more sense to you in your mind when you feel like maybe writing later on this Thanksgiving holiday or organizing photos into great scrapbooks that your family will value so much one day when you're gone. Or if you will believe that you putting together like great outfits on paper and sketching them out, if the enemy can convince you to stop doing all of those things, oh man, he just totally wins. Okay. Listen. Okay. If you will use the gifts that God has given you, it will take up some of the time in your brain that right now you have just to let your imagination run wild. Because what happens is when we're not doing things and we're kind of thinking, right? And we're like watching TV, zoning out on Netflix, just trying to kind of process where we're at in life. And we have all this time to think. And I know what happens for me. And somebody tell me a yes and amen if this is you too. I will begin to dream up stories of nonsense in my mind that aren't even true. And I'll start playing out in my head of how this may work out. And a lot of times it looks like a train wreck because left to my own devices, you guys, I will think craziness. And left to your own devices, you will think craziness too, because that's the way the enemy works. But if you can get your hands busy, how many of you have ever before you've painted, done pottery? We're going to tweet that. Pottery. You've been making something out in your wood shop. You've been organizing and it's almost like therapy. It's almost like therapy. Like you can't believe how much better your heart feels. Like how you can just kind of like zone out while you're painting a piece of furniture. And you're like, dude, like I didn't think about that thing for the last 3 hours. I didn't think about that thing or come up with worst case scenarios in my head all afternoon while I was organizing closets. Or as I organized the closet, life made more sense to me. I was able to process things in a different way. Listen, friends, I tell this to people in my inner circle all the time. Some of you don't even understand that you're crafting, you're making, you're DIYing, you're creating. It is saving your life right now. It is saving your life right now. God gives that to you as a gift. This is making me want to cry for somebody because some woman on here today is getting her booty saved by the Lord right now from the creative gifts that he gave her. And you need to recognize that, sister. And you need to be doing the thing that he's gifted you to do because it's saving your butt. You will spiral out of control if you don't recognize that he's given you some gifts. Do something with them. Idle hands make for idle minds. You don't want an idle mind, because when you've got an idle mind, you're thinking of all the things that could happen. You're thinking of worst case scenario. You're dreaming up vain imaginations because that's my propensity, ladies. I need you to know this, that my propensity is a vain imagination, and it's going into places that it should not go, and that the Lord doesn't want me to be going. He gives grace for today and today only. But my propensity is to go and start thinking of, good Lord, what's this going to look like in 10 years? What's this going to look like in 6 months? And to be gathering from tomorrow's problems. But if you will actually use the time that you have to use the gifts that God gave you, it can change your perspective on all of those things. I promise you. I promise you. Whew. I just went a little wild there. Final reason you need to be creating. I'm going to start by saying this. I hate that saying that your talent is God's gift to you, and what you do with it is your gift back to God. Okay, because number one, God doesn't need a present from you. I hate that saying. I hate that saying. He doesn't need you to give it back to him. He gives it to you because he loves you so desperately. He loves you so desperately. He didn't need it back from you. He doesn't need things like that. All right. But your gift has been given to you so that you can both minister to yourself and you can honor God by using the gifts, and that you can be a blessing to the world. Because so often we're like, why do I need to do this or do that? And I don't need to cook. Honey, the world needs you to be able to cook. You know why? Because there's people out there that are hungry. People like me who don't know how to cook. Thank God my husband has the gift of cooking, or I would starve to death on a can of corn for dinner every night. And that is the truth. When he met me, I would eat a can of corn for dinner. Have no creative ability in that arena at all. The world needs what you have. The world needs it. Your family, the people around you, your friends, they need you to operate in your gifts. I want you to think of it like this. How many of you on here are parents? Parents. All right, parents. Love you, Instagram, by the way. Thank you for being here. So your parents, and which means you have kids. And how many of you, when you get them a gift for their birthday or for Christmas or something, and you give them this gift, right? And you're like, oh, I thought about it. I was so intentional with buying it for them. Like, I know it's just what they need. Like, I know it's just what they want. Like, they're going to love this. They're going to love playing with this. I'm going to get them this gift, right? And you give them the gift, and it sits in their closet with the tags still on it or still in the box, and they never use it. And how does that make you feel as a parent? How does that make you feel? And I want you to think about the same scenario with God gives you gifts, and then it sits there in the closet. And then it sits there. And I wonder if, and this is not something that I've read in the Bible, but I just wonder how God feels about that. When I look at my kids, and I've got one of them right now who I'm wanting so badly to go out for a particular sport, and they're so gifted in that area. They're so talented. They're so talented. You know how as like your kid's parent, like you know what your kids' giftings are. I know darn good and well that as much as I would love for Ava to be a ballerina, not going to happen. That's not her gifting. Okay. She's the kid that's been dangling from the chandeliers and hanging upside down from trees since like she came out of utero. So she's not going to be a ballerina. You know your kids' gifts, right? You know your kids' gifts. So I've got one kiddo who's so gifted in this particular area, and he doesn't want to do it anymore. And it breaks my heart almost. Because I'm like, man, you're so good at it. Like you're so good at it. God gifted you naturally in that area. And it saddens me to not see him use that to the best of his ability. And I just wonder if our Father in heaven ever looks down at us and is like, man, I gave her so much talent in that area. Like, I wonder if it saddens him when we're not using the giftings that he gives us. So I firmly believe if God's given you the gift of speaking, you need to be speaking to the glory of God. If he's given you the gift of serving, you need to be serving to the glory of God. If he's given you the gift of creating, you need to be creating to the glory of God. And for those of you too who are like, I'm so anxious about this holiday season. If maybe you're like, I don't have any money to decorate right now, for the first time ever, I can't really go out and buy some new decorations. And it's really causing me a lot of upset internally. Listen, you can do creative things and make things without a lot of money. You totally can. Go to your backyard, gather some stinking sticks, spray paint those bad boys silver or gold, put them in a vase and call it done. Go through your old Christmas decorations, find all those old glass balls, hang them from a hanger in your basement, respray paint them a different color, hang them with fishing wire and call it done. Go to the Restore, get you a can of $5 paint off the Oops thing and go home and paint your bathroom and watch how some of that tension and that stress is just relieved from you. Because when God gives you a gift, it doesn't come with anxiety. It doesn't come with frustration. It's a gift. It's a gift. So use your creative abilities right now. And remember that the gift was given to you for a purpose, sister, for a purpose. Bless you guys. Whoa. I didn't say start. Come on, you're better than this. Okay, I wasn't even ready yet. You see, what happened was my big fat finger hit the live button on accident. Absolute disaster. Mr. Magic and I don't gel. We don't gel when we do Christmas decorating, do we?
We only gel minimal times.
Come sit, my love. We only gel minimum times. What are you saying?
Minimal times. We usually argue about stuff like that.
We do. This is why we can't be on TV. Because you want to argue with me while I want to hang stuff.
I don't want to argue.
Right now, it's bothering you, the position of this bench, isn't it?
It's not done my way, so therefore it's
You
wrong.
you don't even like how we're sitting right now, do you? Mm-mm. I know. I love you. He's the boss in every area of the life. Say hi to everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, there we are.
What are we doing this morning?
We are talking about using your giftings.
Did you already pray?
I already prayed. Yeah.
Okay.
And
so now we're just talking.
So now we're just talking because I have a team meeting and I think I may be avoiding it.
Oh.
Hey, friends. We are putting on a conference.
Mess up my hair this morning.
Don't mess up your hair. Kate, are you putting your hand in the middle of my back right now? Do you feel that hot flash?
Why is it so hot?
I know, because I have a hot flash every time I do a Facebook Live. These people don't even know how much I love them.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
There is sweat.
Every menopausal woman on here knows what I'm talking about.
It is sweat.
I know. Is it grossing you out?
Hot. It's not hot. I mean, not hot, like physically hot. I mean, like.
It's physically hot.
No, I mean,
this is a hot flash.
I mean, like hot. I mean, like hot, like you're hot. I mean, like this is like hot on your back. This is.
Oh, I thought you were saying I'm
not attractive. As long as it's not in your armpits.
The conference is called the Equipped Conference.